when I look at toddlers, I see them going boink, 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 grab this, put this down, pick this up, put that in their mouth, put that over, change a diaper, go do this. Oh, you're trying to learn how to toilet learn? Oh, and like how does that work? They're trying to work from home and they're trying to keep their kid engaged in something that gives them a few minutes to get work done. Are there some things that we do at the school that could be helpful to keep their kids engaged and allow them to have that time? Alright, welcome back guys. This is episode 2 of Brighton Montessori TV. I'm Jake Chamberlain, this is my wife.
Leanne Chamberlain.
And we're coming to you from the pod shed. It's been some crazy times that we're going through lately. We want to just touch on what we've been going through and maybe some tips that we can pass along that we've been doing that might be helpful for you in your household.
Right now we're living in unprecedented times. There's never been anyone to help give us any real guidance with what our world has been experiencing over the last 8 weeks really for some of us. And so as people, we're so regimented in our routine. We love our routine. And that's why it's so important for little kids to have one, because that's how we thrive. And even as adults, we really thrive on our routine and our purpose for the day. And so this has kind of really halted all that and really stopped people's lives and kind of made everyone lose control over everything. And I know now we're entering week
56?
I know, right? Whatever number it is, of stay-at-home order, that now it's kind of feeling like we're getting a little bit of a routine-based till another wrench is thrown in. But these are some things that we know have been working for us, and that it's important to give yourself some grace during this time too. I know for myself, I like to I'm very type A. I like things to go according to plan. I like to, if I have a plan, I like to know how I'm going to execute it, how it's going to finish. And every day I have a plan and it's thrown out the window. It's never gone according to my plan each day.
Yeah, I think that's something perfect to talk about, because one of the biggest issues I've had during this time was, and has been, my mindset. I've been devastated by this. I've because of what we do, running businesses, we have to be totally connected into what the news is, what the government's telling us to do, what we are allowed to do or not allowed to do, and for the first, 3-4 weeks of this, it's just I've been almost around the clock paying attention, researching things, looking up, what it is, applying for loans. How are we going to, trying to figure out how we're going to budget to get through this, or how are we going to carry on with these things that we were trying to do. And the media coverage of this has been so negative that I've found myself just completely immersed in negativity non-stop, and it has impacted me heavily.
Right, and I just got the phone today with my dad, who he's widowed, but he still works, and he was saying today how he feels like he's going through some sort of depression almost, and he's never suffered from that, but he doesn't have people contact with his family. He goes to work where it's very limited amount of people that he's in contact with, and he works in a hospital, so even it's more desolate and depressing environment there right now. And he was always wanting to be so active with helping get our kids home from school, and so he had that time with his grandkids and then seeing us when we got home. So other than phone calls and FaceTime, that's all the contact he's had with his immediate family. And it's that connection, it's that personal touch and that hug or that handshake that I think is setting a lot of people off too. I know when I go and still meet someone, I want to extend my hand and introduce myself, and I'm having to kind of pull back right away and go, I'm so sorry, or hey, are you giving a handshake right now?
Just trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, right? Yeah.
And so it is, and we were at that place where every morning we had our morning routine and started our morning out with a mindset time and a gratitude journal and some prayer, and before we headed out the door. And instead it was watching true news coverage, and getting the facts and the resources so we could be prepared to help our employees and our customers know what is real and going on real facts, not just fear-based facts.
Yeah, and that's taken a toll on us. We've talked about it, but it's the flip side is that we also have control over those things, and that's what I've tried to make more of a point to do, is to try and counteract that negativity and put positivity in my mind, because I was becoming miserable. It was just miserable. And so I think, adding things like motivational podcasts that I listen to, books, some different shows that I watch, really has helped me kind of level back off. And I'm trying to continue to do that. But I think the correlation to our kids in trying to keep a normalcy for them with this distance learning and not being able to see their friends has been difficult. But like you said, we're kind of starting to get to that point, because it was tough. The first, when did the schools get closed?
Our kids' school closed March 13th.
So March 13th. So that's over a month ago now. That first week, because I think that was a Thursday. Friday we had to go to our kids' school, pick up all their stuff, start getting assignments from their teachers, and then over that weekend and on that next Monday we were getting set up for all three of our kids to go to school at home. And then it was, between both of us working full time, running two businesses, 3 kids, having to homeschool 3 kids.
And the momentum of the uncertainty.
Well, that on top of it.
We weren't even at a stay-at-home order at that point yet. And
right.
It was just a matter of, we're shutting schools down. And then it kind of just started picking up speed. And we're trying to...
Well, we were getting frustrated. The kids were getting frustrated. I'm sure the teachers were getting frustrated. And it took... That first week was really hard on all of us. But we got through that. The next week it kind of smoothed out a little bit better. Last week was pretty smooth. This week, so it's kind of got into that groove, and I think that's kind of happening with everybody. Is all the fear that came at the beginning is still going on, but all the uncertainty, some of that's we've gotten past some of it. Hopefully we're getting close to some more certainty, but I think people are kind of starting to get into somewhat of what normal is through this stay-at-home order, where I think I think our kids are getting into the same place.
Right, and it's important. You know, our kids are at an age where they understand a lot, but you still want to protect them with not having too much information where they get scared and feel fearful and anxious. That doesn't, our anxiety, our fearfulness does not need to be portrayed on them. So it's important to give yourself grace during that time, and I think that's what was a reminder for me is it's okay that I don't have all the answers, because I don't have any answers right now. I'm getting answers by people, professionals, as it comes in, and everyone has to give each other grace right now, and we're all in this together. And that's what I just keep telling myself, is that nobody's situation is any better than mine. No one's situation is like mine, because we're all juggling our own lives and our own battles right now. What's important, what's not important, letting go. Some people are finding this as a true blessing, and while others are calling it the biggest curse, you know. And so once we had a routine with our kids and developing that of when you get up in the morning, you have your breakfast, and now you're going to school. And that helped me head off to work, Jake start the kids at home, and then once I got stuff established at work and everyone good there, I came home to let you go do what you had to do and finish up with the kids where they're at with their day before they can start lounging around. And even with that is still giving them more time, because I get it. I mean, if they were any smaller with you parents with really small kids at home, it's about bargaining, it's about bribing. And we were there at that phase at once upon a time too, and still are like that. Like, no, guys, electronics have to be put away right now.
Yeah, it makes it as tough as it's been. I think the Montessori in our kids has been very helpful to the situation, because the structure of school went away, and it became all of our kids, no matter what their age is, have been thrust into this learning at your own pace type of schooling. And I think that's something that they've already been through before. They understand that just because they can do it at their own pace doesn't mean that they can wait till tonight to do it. They still have they have that desire to get the work done and move from one to the next and be able to persevere through each lesson, each subject that they're working on that day. And I think that's been a cool thing to watch. Even, with Cruz and Brooklyn, who are 10 and 8, they're able to pretty independently go through everything. But Caleb too, he's 6, first grade. He's done really well with sticking through it. He was one that I was concerned might, want to veer off, right? So, but he's done good too with just sticking with it, getting through it, understanding that. They've all been really good with understanding that this is how it's got to be now.
Right, and with you at home that has kids that are our kids' age or younger, know that if you give yourself a little bit of grace, and I know it's hard because some of us are still working full-time from home, and we have our job expectations and deadlines we have to meet, but finding how you can balance that out to where you have some time alone in the morning to get a good chunk of whatever task you need to get done, and before the kids get up, and then when they get up, have their set schedule. All right, guys, we're gonna have breakfast, and then we're gonna brush our teeth, we're gonna get dressed, and then you're gonna watch maybe 1 hour of show. So at that 1 hour show time, it might be your opportunity to get a couple emails answered, and then after that, if you're staggering it, finding something that helps also relieve your stress throughout your day. This time I'm going to focus on my kids, and this is the time I'm focusing on my work. And then your significant other, while you're focusing on the kids, maybe they can be focusing on their work, and while trading off, finding that so that the kids feel less stressed, because I found that myself too. Like, I can't do work and take care of my kids and answering homework questions. Right now, I'm mom. I'm allowed to be mom. I don't have to be an administrator. I don't have to be a teacher in the school. I have a job here right now. And then when I'm done with that, I can focus and give more of my attention to the next phase of my day. And so giving yourself that forgiveness too of not having it be perfect. No one's looking for perfection right now, and no one should be looking for perfection right now. What everyone should really be looking at is showing up, doing the best you can under the circumstances, because some guy at home or some lady at home who has no kids, like, oh, it's so wonderful to work from home. Get up, stay in my pajamas, do my emails and whatever. They have no idea in the meantime that, this kid pooped and I have to go change their diaper. Oh my gosh, the dog is asking to go out yet again. It's like, that's what we're.
Well, and I think that could be even more stressful too, because when we're talking about, with our kids, we're able to time block, and that's been very helpful to really organize the day. This is happening now, and be able allow us to be able to try and get our stuff done at these times, and the kids, and we can focus on them at these times with their schoolwork. But if you had, I couldn't imagine doing this right now with kids in diapers and
right.
Toddler running around touching everything, right? And that that is a lot harder to time block.
Right, and that's where I think even asking your boss for some leeway in certain things. Hey, I know that when we get back to the office in 3-4 weeks, whatever the time span is, I know I can get that done. Can this be pushed off? And if they truly have compassion, which I think everyone needs to have a compassion for people right now, get it and understand it and help you out too. And if you can do what you can do at home, then by all means get it done the best that you can. But like for us at the school, what we're trying to do is also understand that some parents can't. And so we're trying to provide them some tools, some new ideas to get their kids entertained and engaged.
Well, and that, I think, may be interesting to talk about. And this is out of my understanding, but I think it might be helpful to talk about a little bit what it is that at the school, what do our teachers do in a toddler program to keep kids engaged? Because when I look at toddlers, I see them going boink, 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 grab this, put this down, pick this up, put that in their mouth, put that over, change a diaper, go do this. Oh, you're trying to learn how to toilet learn? Oh, and like what, how does that work? How can that be transitioned to people at home who've got a toddler? They're trying to work from home and they're trying to keep their kid engaged in something that gives them a few minutes to get work done. Are there some things that we do at the school that could be helpful to keep their kids engaged and allow them to have that time?
Right. Well, one is a routine. Even our toddlers, they already have internalized the routine because they don't have a sense of time. You can't tell them, Mom will play with you in 20 minutes. They don't know what 20 minutes is. In 5 minutes, we're going to go for a walk. They don't know what that is. So it's really developing a chart, and you can easily print out a visual chart, and that can also help some of the older toddlers understand the chronological order of their day, which helps internalize the time. But keeping it to a schedule, like when you get up in the morning, we go right to the bathroom, then we're going to go have breakfast, and then we're going to go get dressed, and then we have our playtime. And maybe even limiting the amount of stuff on their if you have a shelf at home, you can put it on a shelf at home, or wherever they
Just
have their
limiting
toys.
what they
Right.
choices that they
So,
have.
and rotate them out, so they're keeping interest that way. So every week, you're rotating out toys that they haven't touched that week, that now maybe you're changing out something else, a couple new ones. So it's always keeping them engaged in something. And then, have an outdoor recess time so that they're getting that fresh air. It's a different environment now. They've had an opportunity to be out of the house. So when they go back into the house, they're re-engaged in what you have out for them to play with. And so that's really, I think, important. Is we sometimes as people think our kids need it all. But that's when they feel overwhelmed. And so really limiting the amount of things. And so maybe it's 8 items out that they can play with. Some blocks, a couple trucks, train track, little manipulatives, and that's it. Have a different
Puzzle and a book.
Exactly. But then giving them that opportunity then next week when they're asleep on Sunday night, that's your chance to quickly go change some things out. So on Monday when they wake up, it's like, look at this new, puzzle that I got, and this one makes noise. Last week it didn't. And so keeping them engaged that way will really help as well. Less is more. We have to remember that. We always feel like we have to give more, but you have to give more quality rather than the quantity. And also what is of interest of your child. Right now we're doing virtual preschool, and so each week our families get an email that says what the materials that they might need at home to prepare a work. The teacher will show them the lesson, and it could be simple things of 2 bowls of water and practicing sink and float with your 3-year-old. So finding objects around your house that you can put in a little basket, and they can go get a pitcher and pour some in a bowl, and now they can do sink and float. That'll help entertain them. And maybe then with that same bowl of water later on, they're practicing pouring. There's a lot of ideas out there that we want to help support parents on and keep those ideas fresh so that their kids are engaged, so that they can get some things done with less interruptions. And so that's really what it is, and establishing that routine. Every day we had an end time for our day. You got off work at 4:30, picked your kid up, went home, made dinner, bath, bed. That still has to maintain the same. Right now it's just that 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. that.
Well, I think that's an important thing too that I've never really thought about, but letting the kids stay up later than you normally would is going to affect the morning. It's going to affect what they do during the day, and so I think that consistency, because I know I've talked to some people that have their kids are staying up 2-3 hours past what they normally do,
and that's something we have stayed on is the bedtime routine for our kids. The only time they were ever allowed to stay past the 8:30 bedtime was on Friday and Saturday night, which we have maintained. But during the week, we are on them about 8:30. It's bedtime, and keeping that consistency because we need them fresh and ready to go in the morning because we're back to our regimented routine with what we have needing to get done, so that we can be productive individuals as well. And so that helps. And nap time, sometimes people are like, well, if they skip nap, then they'll go to bed earlier or fall asleep. And that's not always necessarily true. You have to remember, young children need their nap time. Heck, I need a nap some days for my brain development. But it's good for their brain development. And then the afternoon runs more smoothly. Think about then the less meltdowns they'll have, and it's saying, I'm sorry, this is your nap time. After lunch we have nap, and sticking to it, and putting them and saying you have to stay in your room. Mom will be back in a little bit to check on you, but keeping that so that you don't have those really cranky, overtired kids at 2:30, and you still have to get to 7 o'clock at night before their bedtime. So that isn't always necessarily true either, is trying to eliminate those naps, which I know sometimes we want to do because we want them to go to bed earlier so that it's like, whew, we're done for today. You know, I mean, we all got that, but keeping to that routine, because you guys, we're all gonna go back to leaving our house again, and they're gonna come back to school, and they're going to have that same routine that they had, and so that they're craving it too. And so helping them, just like helping you crave your routine, you can still do it. It's just now it has to be a little bit modified, but don't modify it so much that it causes stress on everybody. There's already enough stress on everybody.
So the point is trying to keep things as normal as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. And that's what our kids need.
So do we.
And so do we. Yeah, absolutely. To help us all through these uncertain times. We don't do good with change. We're creatures of habit. Human beings are creatures of habit. And so we've taken every habit that we've done, and we've now stripped everyone away from it. Whether it was a habit of every morning you drive through Starbucks on your way to your office, or you're the one who's dropping your kid off at school and giving them that one big hug as they walk in the classroom, and now you're walking out the door.
Well, I think those are things that we need to be thinking about as parents, whether you have kids or not. Right now, it's been so hard. Everything's been so hard that we've all gotten, like you said, we've all gotten out of our regular routines. Our habits have changed. Positive habits that we had may have become negative ones. Mm-hmm. And so that takes effort. That takes a commitment. And that's what we should be doing, is switch those negative habits back to positive ones to get us back on track. You know, we're not going to be helpful for our kids in their schoolwork if we're miserable. Mm-hmm. You know, so that, I think, is where it all starts with trying to keep things normal, is to get things back to normal. Get back to those habits. If you know, and this is something I keep trying to do, and this has been really hard for me. But if you always got up at 5:30 and now you're getting up at 7:30, that's a big difference.
Right.
You know? So start getting up closer to your normal time so that you actually do the normal things that you did. You know, I have all these morning rituals that I would go through that I haven't been doing because I've been so consumed with this, and I've allowed it to change how I've acted, and I'm getting up later than I used to, and so I allow myself to run out of time to do those things that are helpful to me so that I can be better for you, and I can be better for our kids and for anybody else. And so I think that's a huge thing of getting back to normal, is just get back to normal. Do the things you normally would do. Even if your whole day isn't going to look the same, we can still control some of those things that would bring normal back.
Right. And that helps just give us, like you said, that positivity back. Things that we have to thankful for and grateful for. We need those as adults right now so that we can really exemplify that to the people that are living with us, as well as even just running to the grocery store right now. You know, we can give it to the service workers there. You know, that's really important. And I think, you know, once we get over this and we look back, you know, yes, we'll be a little bit more prepared if, God forbid, this were to happen again in our lifetime. However, it still will have a very big impact because, like I said, we don't like change. We don't like to have other people in control of our lives and our situation. If any one little thing was different, yes, you can at least go to a store. I know for me right now, it's a matter of just even going out to a restaurant or to a store that I need to pick up one thing. now waiting to go pick up that one thing, you know? And so it's like,
what are you talking about? Like, you want to be able to go shopping?
like I want to go to Home Goods. I want to just go aimlessly walk a store. And that sometimes just brings you joy and just refreshes you. You know, you're out and about for a while on your own, not having people needing you. It gives you that self-check, and then when you walk back in, you're rejuvenated, you're restored, you're refreshed. And that's what we're all missing right now.
Yeah.
And so is that refreshness piece. So yeah, if you were going to the gym, now your gym has to kind of be at home, but maybe change up your workout activity right now. You know, maybe go outside for a run around your block, or find a new online class to join and try it out, just to kind of reinvent some stagnation right now that everyone's kind of feeling.
Yeah, break out of that.
Yeah.
Well, and so I think those are the number one things that we can do, is try and get back to normal. We'll get through this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to last forever, even though some people make it sound that way. Sometimes it feels that way. It's not going to last forever. So let's get ready now to be normal for when we are really allowed to be back to normal.
Right. Because I'm ready. I think we're all ready.
We're all ready.
And we are ready to see our students again and just fill the classrooms back with laughter. The materials have sat perfectly, neatly on the shelves. They're ready to look a little disarrayed here and there.
Patiently waiting.
Yes. So hang in there, guys. We know everyone's doing the best that they can. You know, we commend everybody's efforts during this time, and showing, you know, strength and endurance and commitment to what really means the most to everybody, and that's not only our families but each other. And so
yeah, and thank you. Our the most gratitude we can give right now are to those people that are on the front lines. Mm-hmm. You know, the medical community, the childcare industry that's helping those people go to work, the teachers that are trying to figure this all out too, and do this distance learning to help our kids continue to learn. You know, the grocery stores, you know, everyone. There are so many people right now that are making our world continue to go round, even when it doesn't seem like it is. It's still going, and there's a lot of people that we can be thankful for that are creating that for us and allowing us to, you know, as bad as we feel like it is sometimes, it's not so bad.
Right.
So thank you to those people that make it not so bad.
Right. So.
Well, we appreciate you guys watching, and we hope that if you enjoy this, that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Bye, guys. Take care.
See you later.